Hi guys, this is the second tutorial in the line getting you started with Lightroom Classic. In the first tutorial we discussed setting up the preferences for the Lightroom software, and that is specific to the Lightroom software that you have on any machine. So if you have Lightroom on your PC and Lightroom on a separate laptop or another PC, then you must go into each one of those devices and set up the preferences in the same way, or in a different way if you choose to do that. The catalogue settings is what we're going to take a look at today, and these are specific to your individual catalogues. So if you have a catalogue that you use permanently, then you will only ever need to do this once. If you have multiple catalogues, then you could have them set up slightly differently. So we're going to take a look at how to alter and why to alter the catalogue settings. So in a Mac, you go up into your top left hand corner into your Lightroom and choose catalogue settings. On a PC, you go to edit and choose catalogue settings. Along the top here we only have 3 tabs, so this is a much shorter video than it was to do the preferences. So if we start off in the general tab, this is telling you, and if you ever need to know where your Lightroom catalogue is, this is telling you where the location is on your hard drive of the Lightroom catalogue. It's telling you the name of the catalogue, and we can discuss renaming your catalogue. If you want to rename your catalogue, you need to come in here and you need to write down this file path, because you need to go into that folder and change the name of your Lightroom catalogue, and we'll come back to that shortly. Renaming the catalogue can be quite handy, because some people end up for some reason creating multiple catalogues and they don't know, they're unsure as to which one they should be working on. So we'll take a look at that when we're finished talking about these. The main choice that you have here is down in the backup section. Now if we click on this drop down box, you get a choice of when to back up your Lightroom catalogue. You can choose to back it up once a week, when you exit Lightroom, once a month, once a day, every time Lightroom exits, and when Lightroom next exits. So I always choose every time Lightroom exits, because of the fact that if you've done a lot of work in your catalogue, you want to back that work up. You want to have a backup of that work, so that if the catalogues become corrupt or fails for any reason whatsoever, you have a backup that you can go to. You do have a choice now, when you go to escape Lightroom and close it down for the day, that you can actually skip the backup. So it's only one little extra click of the button. So I would recommend that you choose every time Lightroom exits, and that way, even if you go into Lightroom once a week, you only have to back it up once a week. We're going to quickly discuss when we're finished doing this what to do about the backups, but for now we'll stick with finishing off the settings. So if we next come to file handling, these are your preview cache settings, and I would just recommend that now we have an auto button. So if you choose auto, you will get Lightroom will give you the best size preview that you need, and you can either have them on medium or high quality. I stick with medium. Now one-to-one previews, you have a choice and we'll discuss this when we come to the import section, to whether to create a one-to-one preview for use in Lightroom, and we'll discuss that further when we do the import video. So if you have a drop down box here, you can choose to delete the one-to-one previews after 1 day, 1 week, 30 days or never. And I use 30 days. One-to-one previews do take up space on your hard drive, and usually when you do an import, you do most of the work that you're going to do on those images within the first 30 days of them being there. And having a one-to-one preview just allows you to zoom into that image a lot quicker. So I would choose after 30 days. Then Lightroom itself will automatically discard those one-to-one previews. You can leave these numbers down here the same as they are, and we'll go up to the metadata tab. Okay, so you want to leave these first two boxes ticked. This third box here, now this is very much dependent on whether, if you convert, and again this will be covered in the import section, if you convert your images to DNG format when we import them into Lightroom, you don't need to have this box checked, because Lightroom writes all its edits directly into the DNG file. If you choose to keep your images as the raw format that your camera produces, then you have a choice here. If you choose to tick this box as you're working and doing edits on an image, Lightroom will write those edits into an XMP file, which will sit side by side on your hard drive of your computer, side by side with the raw file. So you will have a record of all the edits that have been done to that image. Then if you take that image into another piece of software, not through Lightroom, then you will have the changes that you've made within Lightroom. If you don't write the changes into the XMP file, then the changes that you've made will stay in your Lightroom catalogue, and they will stay there until you export that image as a JPEG or a PSD, and then it will write the changes into it. If your system will cope with it and you are using raw files and keeping them as raw files, I would have this box ticked. But if you find you've got an older system and your Lightroom is struggling and lagging while you're doing a lot of editing, then you can come back into here and untick this box. As long as you have a backup of your Lightroom catalogue on a separate computer or on a separate external hard drive, and we'll talk about that in a moment, then you can get away with not having this box checked. But that is a very important section for you to think about what you want to do with this. These suggestions down here are for the address lookup, and this is for when you're using the map module. If you have GPS on your camera, you can automatically detect through the map module where those photographs were taken. This can be left checked so that if you come in to use the map module, you will be able to find out where those photographs were. Automatically detect faces in all photographs is something that Lightroom is capable of doing, and it's capable of recognizing a face and putting a name with that face. This you can leave ticked, and it can also be turned off from within Lightroom, and we'll discuss that when we come into the develop module. Write date or time changes into proprietary raw files. So if you shoot with two cameras, say for a wedding, and you're going to change the timestamp on one because they were wrong, and you want Lightroom to write those changes into the raw files, then you need to have this box ticked. Okay, sorry about that, folks. So we need to discuss backups. Lightroom backups do take up space on your external hard drive or on your computer, and you really only need to keep the last 3 or 4 backups, and you can do some housekeeping to get rid of the remaining backups because they do take up space. I would always recommend that you have an external hard drive and that you can store your backups on either an external hard drive or a USB, and keep them on a separate machine, and preferably in a separate place to your computer, so if your computer burns down you have a backup of presumably all of your images and